Good morning and welcome to Sahara TV's Breakfast Show, a first preview of what's making the headlines on Nigerian dailies this morning. And with us to review the main issue of the day, the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal judgment, is a legal practitioner and public affairs analyst, Mr. Malcolm Omirabo. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And lovely to see you here. Again, to see you here.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
To the papers on the front pages, first is the Sun newspaper with the headline, Judgment Day, Anxiety, Security Alert in Abuja as Tribunal decides Tinubu, Atiku, Obi's fate. IGP deploys 7 DIGs, 5 AIGs, riot police to venue across FCT. We'll be moving to the next paper, and that's the Punch newspaper. Presidential poll, heavy security as Tribunal decides Atiku, Obi's petition against Tinubu. Police block entrance to Court of Appeal. 1 politicians against violence. 5 justices decide Atiku, Obi's petition today. Security agents patrol Abuja. Our next paper is the Guardian newspaper with the rider subsidy returns as FG leverage NNPC to manage market stocks. We have police on red alert as Nigerians await tribunal's ruling on presidential election, which is also another rider on the Guardian newspaper. Our next newspaper is the Vanguard newspaper with the rider strike halts activities in rivers, Osun, Edo, Kano, Kaduna, Cross River. We also have presidential poll, the 4 men, women who will decide fate of Tinubu, Atiku, Obi today. Our next paper is the Daily Trust newspaper with the rider, Nigerian pilgrims asked to deposit 4.5 million for 2024 Hajj. The final newspaper we'll be reviewing is the Business Day with the headline, CBN to clear FX backlog in 2 weeks. Then we also has the rider, D-Day, Nigerian awaits tribunal's judgment. These are the headlines, stories that are making the front page headlines this morning. As a reminder, you can be part of this program by dropping your thoughts on all our social media handles. And you could as well call. And the number to call is on your screen now, and that's 0704 9941 413. While you watch us and listen to our guests. Malcolm, the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal cuts across all the newspapers today. Today seems to be the judgment day, and there's a high expectations from Nigeria with regards to the outcome. What are your expectations?
My expectation is that substantial justice is done, devoid of technicality. On either way, I, for one, I believe strongly that the elections should be annulled and there should be a fresh election. That's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it because it is what we all witnessed. We're not children. We witnessed the flaws, we witnessed the rigging, we witnessed the criminality of INEC. We witnessed deliberate distortion of the electronic means with which we're supposed to have a transparent and credible election under the guise of technical glitches and all that, which was not. It was the servers and all that were deliberately shut down. So I, for one, believe, and it's my opinion, that election was not free, was not fair, was not credible, and that it should be cancelled. That's my expectation.
How might the tribunal's decision impact the political landscape of Nigeria, whichever way it comes?
Now, before I get to that question, that's my opinion, but it is different from, I am not a judge. I am not one of those lawyers who were for or against. So it's just my opinion. You know, this a decision will be arrived on based on the law, applied to the facts of the case and the evidence tendered by each party. So it's not, people sometimes have good case and they lose. I have seen situations where people lose very good cases. It's not all who is entitled to justice that get justice, as far as I'm concerned. It is how you present your case, how you go about it. Both lawyers on both sides, they've done their wonderful job. It's left for the judge now to apply the law to the facts. And I expect the court to do substantial justice, not technical justice. That's that. So going to the next question, how will the judgment?
How will it impact the political Nigeria's political landscape?
It's a defining moment for us as a people, because the result, or I mean the judgment, is going to cut across ethnic background, political interests, economic interests, and religious interests, and all that. So it's a defining moment. It's a do or ma situation for Nigeria. The judgment just has to be transparent. It just has to be transparent. Although the law is an ass. If I am not clairvoyant. I can't see the next minute. I don't know what will happen. But I know that if the judgment is seen not to be transparent, it might lead to protest. Because a lot of people are waiting for this moment. A lot of people are really eager. The government should not underestimate the outcome of the judgment, because and I've advised people, if you are protesting, make sure it's peaceful. Make sure you have a right to protest. You have a right to assemble. You have a right to move freely. You have a right to express yourself. But for crying out loud, it should be peaceful. But then, anything can happen. And I can tell you, the government is just bluffing. The government cannot curtail the people because they are overstretched. You're protecting Abuja. What's happening in Lagos? What's happening in Calabar? What's happening in Sokoto? What's happening? So everything is concentrated in Abuja, trying to protect the judge. But this is a judgment that concerns the whole country. So I expect anything, but I pray it's going to be positive, that the people should accept the judgment in good faith. And if they're not satisfied, it's not final. You still have opportunity to go upstairs, go to the Supreme Court. And this is where I find the Electoral Act very clumsy. It has allowed the usurper, I use the word usurper, to dig in. So if assuming they say, oh, the man there is not, because I have never called Tinubu president. Probably the judgment will tell me, but I've never one day called him my president. I cannot, at my age and my status in this country, I can't be afraid of anybody to say what I want to say, anywhere, anytime. He's not my president. It is the court that I will look at the judgment of the court and see whether he's my president. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that we are waiting to see the judgment and see how transparent it is. I am not a party, so if the parties are not satisfied, they can go upstairs and see what will happen. But the time is making the usurper digging deep every day. So this will call for the reform on the Electoral Act. Before anybody is sworn in, there should be, all electoral cases should be taken care of. How can you look at how the extent, look at the time, the damage is causing. Every day you are pointing this, you are pointing that, you're choking your hand at the pulse, and assuming the court now says you're not there. Look at, within 1 month, just like locusts, destroyed the fabrics of the country. and then there's confusion already. So I just pray for the best, and I pray for peace and tranquility in this country.
Now, if I may get your view on this, in fact, there's just been a lot of cries, public outcries, especially within the social media access, and there was a hashtag, all eyes on the judiciary at some point in time. I mean, and there's been hues and cry on the personalities of the justices. Questions are also being posed. Does the country have any incentive? Does the judiciary has any incentive to exhibit judicial courage in the administration of justice in this regard?
Like you and me know that the Nigerian judiciary is not independent. And it's just an apron. It's tied to the apron string of the executive. Finances, appointment, favors, everything. They're looking up to the executive. I would not want to downgrade the panel who are handling this tribunal matter now. I will not downgrade them because, like I said, nobody knows where this judgment is going. It could be for your preferred candidate. It might be against your preferred candidate. But because of the antecedents of the judiciary, giving some judgment that to the common man looks funny, but then what the common man should understand is that the law is an ass. The law is an idiot. It doesn't have sense sometimes to the common man, because the law will tell you what the law is. No matter the common man or the common sense man believes, emotion, sentiment, it's supposed to be like this. Now this man get the land. The law will tell you, no, you're statute bar. For 12 years, if you knew you owned the land, why didn't you come up? He defamed my name. You're statute bar. And that man goes away smiling. He gets the land because you sat on your right or you didn't do the right thing. So the law is an ass. So whatever the judgment will be, like I said, I will not downgrade anybody, and all what we had, I will want to take them as rumors, but you will not blame the people because we've lost trust and confidence in the judiciary.
Talking about trust and confidence, how might the judgment influence the public perception of not only the electoral process but the legitimacy of the elected president?
You see, whatever the judgment is, if they say the status quo remains, that is to say the usurper is still the president of Nigeria, that will not give him legitimacy. The judgment may not necessarily give the president legitimacy. I can tell you that for free, because the people, if they go through the judgment and they see that the judgment is not palatable, they have no choice to comply. But ordinarily, it's just like I come in here and say I'm your boss, and I'm not your boss and all that, even though the management say this man should be your boss. You will see that I am not loyal to you. I'm antagonistic, but you are the boss. So that will also midway, it will be a precipice, or to precipitate to an outburst. So like I said, nobody knows where Nigeria is going right now. Nobody knows. Nigeria is pregnant, in the labor room. So the fact that the court will say this man is the president, okay, he's the president, nobody can challenge that. We'll continue. But then there's no respect. Then there's no cooperation. Then there is no national cohesion for the next 4 years. And it's very, very key. We need a leader that should be able to carry everybody along. We need a leader that will be acceptable to all. We need a leader that will be clean from controversies like drugs, fraud, deceit, lies, and what have you. It's all social vices.
Uh, let's get earlier on you mentioned antecedents and talking about political antecedents. There are historical precedents or landmark cases that could provide insight into how this tribunal judgment might unfold. And considering the historical antecedents of Nigeria's election petitions, especially presidential election petitions in Nigeria, it has always gone the way of the elected president. I mean, do we see any insight, a repeat of history in this regard?
Nothing is impossible, because what I know about most Nigerians is that they don't want to go outside the box. They don't want to go outside their comfort zone. They don't want something new. They don't want to say, see, if I'm building a 25-story and I discover that the foundation is bad, I will personally, even at the finishing point, I'll collapse it. But the average Nigerian want to see how he can manage it and add more pillars here and there. You understand? Nigeria is not a pot of soup where you can add salt and maggi and see how you can balance the soup. Maybe the pepper is too much. Okay, put more maggi. No, it's not like that. We are human beings. We are dynamic. So the judgment based on antecedent, like you rightly said, would be Nigerians will be having it at the back of their mind that, look, somebody like Lawa, who did not contest and is there, Akpabio's case, even the one in Imo State, I don't know how to describe it. See, I won't tell you, I've on the surface looked at those judgments, but again, like I said, the court is an ass. You cannot just blame it on the judiciary, because it is the law they will follow. But that is to say, they can deliver good judgment if there is no external influence or pressure. The court can look at it and give justice as per the law, not as per sentiment, not as per emotion, not as per feelings. This is it. And so if you look at those cases, I think the courts were just too technical and too rigid. There was no equity. There's no fairness. You just say, oh, this man. Okay, if you say this man did not come through the right channel, you are pleading fraud, for instance, and the means for which you would prove fraud is by writ of summons or things like that. The court will not just drop dead quiet and gives its judgment, leaving it closed for justice to be done. You understand? The man was there was an error by the judge because he ought not to have delivered the judgment before he went to the Court of Appeal. He delivered the judgment. Then you now say, oh, this man is. You don't even make any statement. Again, I will say strongly, the judge most times don't want to. The court will not give you. This law we are saying is based on rules. It's like a game, a football game. If the ball goes outside the line and from there you hit a nice shot and you score, it will be disallowed. Oh, but that goal now, referee, why did you disallow it? That goal was fantastic. No. Or if the referee had blown the whistle to stop play and after that whistle you scored the goal and he disallowed it, oh, you should have allowed it. That's sentiment. It's not. So law is done or played according to the rules. So the court will not grant an applicant what the applicant did not ask for, because it's not for that Christmas. Secondly, the court will not go outside evidence that are submitted. So if you're doing a case and you know any document is fundamental to your case, you must present it as at when due. Not after when they ask you, where is you say your company is a limited liability company, you say yes. Where's your certificate of incorporation? It's at home. Yes, truly, you have that certificate of incorporation. It's at home. But you don't have it before the court. The court will not wait for you. The court will not want to help you to go and get it. I'll give you another example now that is, recent. You're talking about the certificate of Tinubu. What Atiku ought to have done before the case, that's what he's doing now. He's doing a wonderful job. If I were them, I'm going to ask salient questions that he is asking even more deeper. None of them did that. So now the court is about to give judgment. You're now going to look for those documents to do what? Maybe through another means. But then, if they declare him president, he's immune.
That's a lot of technicalities actually coming to the fore here. There, not to put you on the spot. Part of the issues bordering on the possibility of the courts or the justices putting these judgments based on technicalities includes the calls that have been made for Tinubu's disqualifications. This includes the drug and trafficking and money laundering cases, the $460,000 for feature, 25% in the Federal Capital Territory, forged certificate, which you just mentioned, INEC not following its guidelines, the Vice President Shetima's double nomination, election rigging, dual citizenship, and perjury. Looking at all of this, are these complexities in the case, are these enough grounds to actually quash the case based on technicalities?
There's nothing technical about that. That's why I said what I expect the tribunal to do, whether we have money or not, is to cancel the election and let Nigerians sit down, let the server or whatever they call it, the electric gadget, let them work. Let us be honest with ourselves. Even with Tinubu there, let us conduct another election. Let Nigerians decide. That's the best way to go. I don't know what the judgment is. It's like writing an exam after WAEC has marked your result. That's what I'm trying to do now because the result has been marked. But what I'm saying, all those grounds you mentioned, particularly the criminality of INEC, the rigging, particularly the criminality of INEC, you understand? The rigging, the area of disqualification and all that, all these things you mentioned put together is enough for the court to say, look, go back, let's conduct another election within this time frame and that. Anything short of that, I don't, to me, there's no way. I might say, okay, this is what the Supreme Court said, but for me, that's what I believe that the court should do.
You can still be part of this program and you by submitting your opinions and your perspectives on our social media handles on both Facebook as well as YouTube and the X, formerly Twitter handles. You can also put a call through to the studio, if you want to be part of this program. And the number to call is right there on the screen. So please, we'd like to hear your comments and your perspectives on the potential outcomes of the Presidential Petition Election Tribunal. Malcolm, let me ask you, what role do you see the judiciary playing in maintaining the stability and credibility of the democratic process in this context?
Right now, the whole country, the weight of the whole country is resting on the shoulder of the judiciary. Yeah. So, it is, like I said, the role they can play is to give a transparent judgment that will be acceptable. That will be acceptable to common sense this time and equity. You understand? They should not necessarily be technical. So everybody, the whole country, in fact, the black race, because out of every 10 black men, one is a Nigerian. So the whole black race, both in diaspora, the Americans, in Caribbean, the whole black race, they are just looking out to us. And let me tell you, if we think that what is happening in Sudan or what's happening in other parts of Africa cannot happen in Nigeria, we are joking. I will tell you that for free. If you think, because right now, the only thing that is, Nigeria is failed already. The only thing that is holding Nigeria is the military, because it has the force of coercion. But right now, it doesn't even have it alone, because you have other people who have firepower like them. They have also the force of coercion. Recently, some people shut down our, not it has been happening, but a very recent one, where our helicopter was shot down in Niger State. And so what are you saying when you have people who can open fire and just drop your helicopter, who can ambush your men and kill them? So what are you talking about? And let me say here, use this opportunity to say that Nigeria is like almost an empty shell. If Nigeria, they were making a mistake to think that, oh, US, Britain, they will not allow us fight because of their interest here in Nigeria. Oh, they love us so much. No way. They would rather we fight so that they can sell their arms and ammunition, so that they can come in here, and what they're interested in is guide our natural resources and cut them away while we are fighting. Gone are the days where Nigerians can hit their chest and say, oh, nothing will happen in this country. Do you know why? Because almost the whole countries in this world have companies in Nigeria. Tell me which company is in Nigeria now? Volkswagen, they are gone. Peugeot, gone. Dassault, gone. Which company left recently? This pharmaceutical company that does McLean and all that just left. Lever Brothers, Leventis, John Holt, everything. So those companies before, they were remitting monies to their countries. So there's no, is it from Denmark? Where? All over the world, they had what you call those days. I call it those days because you don't have them more anymore. You call them multinational companies. The multinational companies are not here. So those countries, if Nigeria was going to have a problem, they'll be quick to say, no. This company, so we have 3 companies in Nigeria and they are remitting no. Please, let's make sure there's peace in that country so that we can be repatriating money, we can be sending our people there to work and all that. There's nothing like that. So what we have is just our natural resources, our gold, our oil, our gas and all that. So there's nothing in Nigeria. So if there's an issue, only God will help us.
Let me take some of the comments that we're already having on the social media handles. We have this from Aldo Victor. Judiciary are not ready to do the needful, and army are not ready for coup. Maybe the masses will later fight for what is right by ourselves. Adewest Dolapo Adekunle says, let them be deceiving us. As for me, I have already known the outcome. Money speaks in Nigeria, a lot to say. Shobolaju Olayinka Ibisomi said, with the way the polity is, a lamb will never get a fair judgment in the court of leopards. In a nutshell, let peace reign. These are some of the comments that we are having, and we have a caller. Let's quickly take that call. Hello, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Chris Idoko. I usually call in most of your program. I'm calling from UK.
Fantastic. It's nice to have you back again.
Yeah, nice to have you. Yeah, greetings to the lawyer in the studio. Yeah, we like him. He always stands for the truth.
Thank you.
Yeah, today is such a day to Nigerians, and we are here just because we are always used to doing the wrong things. And it's quite unfortunate that even the educated ones in Nigeria, in Africa, always participate in dragging the nations back. We had an election where it was very clear by INEC's own guidelines to just follow their own guidelines to make sure that transmission of results worked perfectly, just like other elections. So they conducted work, but they intentionally made sure that presidential results never worked. Nigerians never knew. We never knew what was going on until they go back to the old ways of collecting manually to manipulate the results, which is quite unfortunate, something that was spearheaded by a professor. Okay, so, and that brought us to where we are. And having done that, the contestants went to court. And we expected that this should have been sorted out because you had 3 months before the swearing in of whoever was declared to sort it out. But of course, we know, as corrupt as we are, they made sure that this case never saw the light of the day until they've sworn in. And we all know what happens when they've sworn in. They declared the winner would definitely take control of all the systems. And here we are. So the law is very clear. Even after INEC has failed, we all know that based on the evidences presented before the court, in same countries, that will never be allowed to sail through. But we'll see what will happen today. We expect that one of the contestants against Tinubu will be declared winner, or at least, like your guest said in the studio, with all that INEC failed, with all that is against the current president, the election should be cancelled to do the right thing. You see, like your guest was talking about other nations where some people go into that. It's not like Nigeria can't go into certain things. Most of the times, Nigerians abide by the laws of the land, but the problem is these political elites, they have a way of actually forcing Nigerians into taking the laws into their hands. If you watch the fight against, for instance, the IPOB and all that, if you watch from there was no violence at all. They only carry their flag and make their protest. But by the time you start unleashing bullets on them, you are forcing them to turn to something else. After the elections, you can see the followers of P2B and many others, even at Tiku, nobody has done violence. But when you start eroding justice in the system, you are intentionally creating anarchy and forcing people into what they shouldn't have been doing. And I don't know how long our system will keep going this way and being spearheaded to rotten by the educated ones, not the illiterate, people that are well-traveled. It's just so unfortunate. But thanks for the good job you're doing anyway, sensitizing the public.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your call. Yeah. Thank you so much for your contribution.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Malcolm.
Yes.
What's your reaction to the comments and the opinion of the caller?
The caller gave a panorama of the whole situation, and I commend him. As for the comments, they all spoke well, but I want to be particular about that if the military is not ready, if the politicians are not ready, the people will take this. It's not far from the truth. Let me tell you one thing for free, and I'm happy I'm stating it here. Nigeria, I don't pray for it. Nigeria may not have a military coup because I don't like military government. I hate it. I detest it. They destroyed Nigeria. Nigeria may not have military coup. May. Then Nigeria will not have revolution. What Nigeria will have is anarchy. That is, Nigeria will become failed. So there's confusion everywhere. People will forget their primary target. They start going to primordial. This, you're an Igbo man, you're a Hausa man. Okay, go there, go kill them. This, that. There will be confusion. Nigeria will not have revolution. Nigeria may not have military coup, but Nigeria will certainly have anarchy if we don't handle the situation very well. Where you cannot have warlords. So if I have like 50 AK-47, I take care of this place. It's my own. So I determine life and death. I can go and get, and this is what the international, most of these countries abroad want. They want so that these warlords will now, when there's anarchy, cannot guide the resources while they are taking it, just like what happened in Sierra Leone and other countries. So let us avoid anarchy. Right now that we have judges that people can bow down to and say, my lord, We have people who can senate and make law. We have police who can police. Let us be careful, because when there's anarchy, who am I going to report my problem to? Nobody. There will be no police, there will be no judge. And I can tell you for free, most of these so-called, as the last speaker said, well-educated and traveled Nigeria, we will all find ourselves in refugee camps very soon if we are not careful. We will just find ourselves there. I'm telling you, because look at, there will be no escape route for anybody. Oh. There's nowhere to go. Nobody will take you. Cotonou will not take you. Because Nigeria is like locust. If you unleash only Badagry local government into West Africa coast, they will finish that place in terms of needs, food and all that. So nobody will take you. From Mile 2, you can't even make it to Badagry, because there will be groups of banned criminals waiting for you. They will strip you naked. You can't go anywhere. That's what they don't understand.
Public reactions and emotions can actually run high during such a significant legal judgment like we having today.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to citizens and stakeholders in order to maintain a peaceful and respectful atmosphere, regardless of the tribunal's decision?
They should, once the judgment is given, they should study it first. And because half information is dangerous. That's the truth. They should study it first and see, after studying it, they can now make a comment. Thank God it's live.
Exactly.
This thing, so people can immediately know what. Then those who are not satisfied can go on appeal. We should try and be law abiding. Not try. We should be law abiding. We should avoid violence. But then there are many youths today who are saying there's nothing to live for. There are many people in Nigeria today who are saying, let this country burn down. I don't care because I have nothing to lose. One thing people don't understand is that many Nigerians have nothing to lose if the country go ablaze. And there are many of them. Many of different age categories. So I cannot speak for them. I cannot stop something that is natural from happening. If it's natural, if there's a spontaneous protest, it's not my making. If there is a spontaneous breakdown of law and order, it's not my making. But I will advise that we should be law abiding and avoid, because violence will not take us anywhere. Because at the end of the day, if we destroy this country or we fight, we will miss ourselves. If we destroy this country, we will have to repair it.
All right. Let's take another caller. Hello. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, I'm calling from Agbara, Lagos. Agbara, Ogun State.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to know first, what was the exact time for the live hearing? I think, when is it really going to start? Because like what I'm seeing now, you guys are just having some discussion. So when is it starting?
Okay, it's supposed to start this morning, and we hope that once it starts, Sahara TV will be going live. So you have to join the feed, and you can rest assured that you get a live update from all our social media handles.
Okay, so there's no particular time it's going to start. Right?
No, we haven't been given a specific time as far as that is concerned, but we hope that it's going to start this morning.
This morning, yeah.
Okay, it's all right. I'll call back to give my whole comment. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling. We have other reactions from our Facebook handle, and we have this statement: "Wahala for who trusts this judiciary." Interesting. Let them be deceiving us. As for me, I have already know the outcome. Money speaks in Nigeria a lot to say. Let's briefly analyze this. Earlier on, you talked about external influences, and we've seen some public statements. For example, the recent statement attributed to the former Supreme Court Justice Odili, and we've also had the NBA president actually coming out to make statements, and the invitation of the president to the NBA conference agency in Abuja. What do all this portends?
This portends the external influence we're talking about, because these people also have access to the judiciary, to the people who are giving the judgment. Remember, there was a time about a month ago or so when they say one of the judges of the tribunal wanted to resign because of pressure. There's no smoke without fire. There was also a time where some people said Fashola was writing judgment.
Exactly.
There was another time they said Odili was a consultant to write those judgments. Then Justice Odili now made that flippant statement, although she tried to say it was manipulated. But that's very, very... Then the NBA chairman, you see, those are the people you are seeing. Behind it, we have multitudes, people who want to benefit from the government. They are the ones, making calls. These judges, they are human beings. They go to church. They belong to groups. They are human beings. They are friends. They have friends and all that. Then, of course, the government, who has taken over the realm of affairs of Nigeria, is there. So you can't rule out this external thing. But I want to comment on the NBA president. I describe him as a misfit, and I stand to be corrected. He's a misfit. He's not supposed to be my president as the president of NBA, because let us quickly take this call.
Hello, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Jerry. I'm calling from the... Can you hear me, moderator?
Jerry, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
So I wanted to contribute, like, this in the history of Nigeria, since we have been having electoral petition. I've never seen anyone that has been in favor of the petitioner. The only thing I've been seeing since in the history is just something of repeating the same mistake, like election during the time, because I believe election petition should be like over before inauguration. But
That's true.
since the inauguration, after the inauguration, I don't think the judge will favor the petitioner or the sitting president, because we have already the sitting president. Even the election was fraud, but since yes, I don't think there is nothing the judge will do now, like maybe like they will try to tell us Nigeria the outcome of this electoral petition that they have been doing since who knows when. We already know the outcome, and Nigeria will be okay if they just give us the good. I'm not in favor of anybody, because I'm just in favor of revolution. I'm not in favor of anybody. But the only thing I know that Nigeria will be okay if there is a revolution, because judges and they will give a good...
All right, Jerry. I think we could barely hear you again. Thank you so much for your contribution. You had Jerry there, and he talked about the historical antecedents of presidential election adjudication, and looking at the history of presidential election adjudication in Nigeria. Political expediency and public policy have always trumped law. I mean, what's your reaction?
Jerry is very correct, and based on the antecedent that we'll be talking about, and based on what we agreed here, that the Electoral Act needs to be amended immediately. Nobody should be sworn in before. Look at this man is eating deep every day. So Jerry is 100% correct on that. And secondly, on revolution, Jerry, if you can hear me, well, we never can tell, but it's difficult to have a revolution. Why? It's an anarchy that you likely have, because a revolution needs people to power it, people with ideology. The youths are not coordinated. You understand? The youths are disorganized. So if you say a revolution should be anchored by a group of people with ideology and objectives where they are going. But right now, you don't have that. After NSAS, the youths, regrettably, have gone back, have relaxed, instead of trying to consolidate. So if you talk, because who is going to do the revolution? Mostly the youths, not necessarily old people, or even if it's going to be headed by an old person, you need the power of the youth. So revolution is not it's not what will likely happen. It's going to be anarchy.
Earlier on, you also
which we don't pray for.
You also spoke about the fact that there is need for us for Nigeria to re-examine the Electoral Act, and in the event that the tribunal's decision leads to a call for electoral reforms, what specific aspects of the electoral process do you believe need urgent attention to enhance its integrity as well as its transparency?
There are many, but very importantly is this issue of nobody should be sworn in before declaring president. It should be within short period. Like, look at Kenya, for example. We should learn. We should have learned from Kenya. Then also the rules that, in fact, they should abolish anything manual. It should be abolished. Because look at, you come into a supermarket, a pharmacy, and you want to buy drugs and all that, and the cashier tries to key in your order, right? To before printing out the receipt and give you. If the machine breaks down, she's not going to sell to you. She has to report management. Okay. Because the management wants to caption every sale. So it will be an offense for you to sell without entering it into the system. Exactly. That's what it should be. Yes, so no electronic transmission or no using of electronic gadget, no election, things like that. So it's very urgent that it has to be done. Before that message, I was saying something about MBA.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, the president of MBA, immediately after the election, waiting we see with our crow eye, say INEC they play magic. We see rigging. We saw all those things. Then the president came out to say it is well that he's called them 80%. He should be careful. He's our president. Whatever he says is rubbed on all the lawyers. Exactly. Did he sit down with the council? Did he sit down with lawyers to come out with that decision? He didn't do that. Then he went on to say he wants to provide free legal services for INEC. You are backing somebody who rigged the election. And I warned him. And I said, sir, you are going outside the objective of this. Then again, the last statement he made, sir, is so sad. If I were him, I would not put myself in the position to be asked whether Tinubu is the president or not, because I will not invite Tinubu for now. I still have second year. I would have stayed out of politics. He's behaving like a politician, as far as I'm concerned.
Let's take this call. Hello, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Okay, hello.
Hello.
My name is Victor Okwerogu, calling from Asaba.
Please go ahead, Victor.
Okay, on the issue of constitutional amendment.
Victor, could you please mute the other your TV or device that because you have given us feedback here. Just mute it.
I've done that.
All right, please go ahead with your comment.
Constitutional amendment. I think that someone mentioned, and Malcolm, my learned friend, is concurring to that election tribunal should be rounded up before the swearing in. I think that might just take away the rights of citizens from electing their leaders. Considering the nature of our country, let's take the last election, for example, where the president don't seem to have supported the candidacy of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, and we all knew that. If the courts had to be rounded up before swearing in, don't you think he would have found ways, to have coerced the court or influence the judgment against the candidate he didn't prefer. By so doing, that would have taken away the powers of citizens to elect their leaders. That's just my little contribution.
Thank you very much, Victor. We appreciate your thought. Your reaction to Victor's comment.
Victor, in fact, I like this your perspective, and most people have not thought about it from that angle. Your fear can be taken care of the fact that once there's an election and there's the opposition, or there's an opposition to the result, the timing will be very short, just a month, and it will be done within the same calendar of the tenure of the incumbent president. So there will be no, because nature absorbs vacuum, so that there will be no vacuum. So that means the election should be brought back, should be brought back instead of February, for instance. We could have brought the election to January, so that you're giving 1 month window to see that, if we conduct election on the 25th, in fact, first of all, another amendment, all elections should be done on the same day. The House of Reps, National Assembly, Senate, all should be done. It's electronic. So if we do that, it's settled. So there's nothing like say, okay, do presidential now, go and do this. No, it's waste of resources. Since it's electronics, nobody go cry now. Electronic go cry. So we do all the elections in one day. So when we do that election, maybe assuming we do it on 25th of January, we have May to hand over power, right? You declare. If somebody now says, I'm not going to, because we should also give room of maybe postponement, like it happened maybe a week or two. So if you bring on 25th, so the incumbent president is there, and we now, if there's any opposition, we now go about it within that period. Now your fear is that the incumbent president may want to influence the judges because he's there to ensure that who he wants gets there. That's another, but that's remote. As far as I'm concerned, it's most unlikely it's remote, because at this point in time, that president knows that he's going out. The judges know that that president is going out. So unless he's going to start twisting them, there's nothing he can do at that period, because it's just 3 months. You cannot now say somebody who is a judge, maybe you want to blackmail him or blacklist him, or once 3-4 months to the expiration of the tenure of the president, especially if the president is has done 8 term already, which is most likely, is always the case. They always do 8 years. The president will not have much interest to, even though he has interest, the judges will know, because at that point you will see that your friends, your loyalty, people have started leaving you already. Go and ask all the old presidents. You will see that if Obasanjo organized a party in Ota today, I swear to God, he will be looking for people to attend that party. Jonathan today, he's just there, So your allegiance will start leaving you. So your fear is well taken. I think those who are doing the amendments will also look into that. But basically, it's a remote, it's an it's a one-off situation.
Let's continue to get your reactions. We have Dedun Fatikon from on our Facebook page, who says, which revolution or let's say ethnic division? Very clear, Tinubu won the election, but Igbo want to truncate our democracy under ethnic sentiment. They had always been anti-Yoruba historically in any election. We've continued to expect your reactions from all our social media handle, and the number to call is also right there on the screen if you also want to be part of the program. We have a reporter actually on the ground in Abuja who is actually monitoring and covering the providing the analysis as well as perspective on what is happening at the court presently. He will be joining us later on to give us a feeds on what exactly is happening at the moment. Back to our guest. Malcolm.
Yes, sir.
The role of the judiciary is quite crucial in actually upholding the rule of law. How can the tribunal's decision contribute to setting a precedent for future election-related cases, thus strengthening the Nigeria's democratic institutions?
the decisions of the court always result to government policies, especially when the matter gets from the Court of Appeal to Supreme Court, which is likely to happen in this instance. So the judgment of the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, if whether good or bad, will form the basis upon which upon which we are going to move forward in the future, because we will always make reference to them. So it is very crucial, and that's why we keep on saying that we pray that the deed is done already. We pray that what we want to see, or what we are going to hear today, is going to move this country forward, not backwards. So
all right,
that decision will help policies in the future.
More reactions. I'll go. Milky said we should make our politicians to see fire from various states, especially the National House of Assembly members, with their various properties being under threat. I mean, more reactions continue to come in, and tension seems to be high. Emotions are running high across the country. And let me get your view on this, and it's very, very important. And beyond the immediate case, what steps can Nigeria take to ensure that its democratic systems evolves positively, irrespective of the tribunal's verdict, in order to strengthen political participation and governance?
Come again with the question.
Beyond the immediate case that we currently have,
yeah.
this presidential election tribunal judgment today, what step can Nigeria take in order to ensure that its democratic system evolves positively, irrespective of the verdict of the tribunal?
Well, those steps we can take, they have always been there. You understand? Those steps is for us to be able to be good citizens. What do I mean by good citizens? We should always say the truth, you know. We should devour ourselves from ethnicity, religious bigotry. We should allow our humanity reign supreme over everything. You know, once you see, why you see, look at that last statement, for instance. Does it make sense? It doesn't make sense. So it starts from us. Now, if we have all these qualities and our morality is high, if we have all these good qualities, then it will be difficult for us to be influenced by bad politicians, those who will come and start giving you promises and all that. So without all these elementary, or will I say rudiments, imbibed in the citizens, we will continue to have the problem. Then, but again, sir, all this will be still difficult, because the government or the political class have weaponized poverty. So, I mean, a man is hungry. Look at the last election, for instance. To hell with morality. To hell with any form of decency. The man is hungry. I remember...
Let's take this call. Sorry to cut you off.
Okay.
Hello, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Good morning, sir. Yeah, I'm Oshuko, but I'm calling from Warri.
Okay, please go ahead, Oshuko.
Yeah, what I want to say is that before the truth, I think people were calling for the court to televise it. They refused.
Exactly.
So I'm not surprised that now they want to televise it. If they want to televise it, it means that they already know that maybe they want to play the happy packing games. Because when we needed the whole thing to be seen on television, they refused. Now they are telling us to stay at home so that we hear the outcome. I just feel that the court is compromised.
Yeah.
All right, Ochiko, thank you so much for your comment. We appreciate that. We have a breaking news just coming in. Police shot tear gas at protesting UNILAG students. Again, police shot tear gas at protesting UNILAG students. The UNILAG students are protesting against the tuition fee hike. And as we speak, we are having reports that police have shot tear gas at protesting UNILAG students. We will continue to follow up on that story. We're still looking at the possible outcomes of the presidential election petition tribunal. You had the reaction of the Ochiko says.
Ochiko, your reaction. Point, if you follow me on Twitter or my Facebook page, you will see my reaction to that. Now, at the beginning of the tribunal, the opposition especially, applied.
Okay, we're sorry to cut you short. We're having reports now that the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal is about to start its proceedings, and we'll be joining the live feed as we speak. And we'll be able to get your comments and the reactions after this. Let's get straight to Abuja.
Everybody love to have Labour Party, which is Peter Obi. You understand? But as it stands now, this country we are now, this Nigeria, is corrupt. It's corrupt, whereby all these old men on top, they don't want to leave them. You understand? They don't want to live. They want to kill this country. You understand? Everybody's just fear, eating that fear. So our judges, a panel of judges, they will love to give it to APC. Meanwhile, why? Because they don't want to lose their job. One, you understand? They don't want to lose their job. And they're all afraid of what might come up. At the end. You understand? So, and as you can hear, about 2-3 weeks ago, this, what's his name, the APC man said if they didn't declare him winner, that is going to cause trouble in this country. So definitely, if they didn't declare him, something else will happen.
This is Nigeria. We always feel because I actually posted that when I saw it on X, that's Twitter, formerly Twitter. So I posted it on my status, and people.